Please put a big hand of applause for Professor Dr. Ahamed Kameel Mydin Meera, who will share with you Musharakah Mutanaqisah that will solve the problem for all of us to affordably own a home. Professor, the floor is yours. Can take this one?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadan Nabil Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you, Brother Kamrul, and everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Kamrul, thank you for the kind introduction. Okay, today, actually, we are already, 30 minutes late, so I'll go fast. So I'll give within this presentation within 30 minutes. So the topic, as you can see, is what I'll be speaking is on home financing and affordability issues in Malaysia. And also, I will try to provide a solution to this. There's no point just talking about problems. So I will provide, inshallah, a solution using a cooperative, okay? So the main points or takeaways from this presentation or the talk is the rising home price and affordability issue is significantly caused by the monetary system. All right, I'm going to talk on that first. The present monetary system is actually behind this affordability issue. Then by Bitaman Ajil and Bail in our context. So something's wrong there. Let me try if it works. Okay, it's not working. All right. Okay, all right. The second is, if you notice, Bai Bitaman Ajil is the most popular contract for home financing in Islamic finance. And then if you add it with Bail Ina, if you are familiar, I will come to the meaning of these contracts later, right? It even makes the problem worse. It even makes the problem worse. And then the last is the Musharakah Mutanaqisah based housing cooperatives could prove a solution, right? So now why do I say the problem monetary system is at fault? If you can see, the present monetary system, the money is created out of actually out of nothing, just accounting entries only. So if you look at the statistics for money in any country, if you go to Bank Nagara's data or any, if you download the data and if you plot over time, you will see the total money in the economy will be growing exponentially, exponential function. All right, this is a slide that I always show it in my whatever talk I give, because this is the root of most of the problems. Yeah, but if you plot for the real economy, the growth of the real economy, you'll notice it is just slightly exponential or almost like a straight line. So the difference between the exponential, both money and the real economy, it shows in the form of asset price bubbles, inflation, and also it creates a disparity in income and wealth distribution, right? Because most of the money that is created, it accumulates with a certain section in the economy. So that economy becomes richer, and the one that is not getting the new money becomes, they become poorer and poorer, okay? So so automatically, if you notice, again, there's something wrong. So I want to show you the effects. So who is controlling it? No, but it is keep on moving without me doing anything. All right, so so if you notice, one of the first, you can notice the first issue or effect of that difference is that first the rise in price. If you look into any statistics, normally the excess money is absorbed by the property sector and the stock market, financial markets. So these are the sectors normally they'll grow when money grows. Yeah, so rise in the price and rentals even during glut. Even when there's oversupply of houses and property, you find price still rising. So that sector tells you that I'm the one absorbing the money supply, which is exponentially growing. You see? So the price goes up simply because our monetary system is based on compound interest. All right. Then the second thing is that you notice that that necessitates low-cost housing for the poorer section. So luckily in Malaysia we have a low-cost housing policy. If you do not have in such a policy, you will find homeless people. In the countries that if you do not have, you'll have homeless people in the economy. Yeah. And then you notice as time goes by, there are also no landed low-cost housing. In those days, for 25,000, if you're in Penang, even in Penang, for 25,000 ringgit, you can get a low-cost housing landed. But now you can't. You only stack them up as flats. And the flats will become bigger, and then they will become smaller and smaller. So this is the effect of a dynamic effect on the housing caused by the structure of the monetary system itself. All right. So, so they are more, yeah. So the size of homes gradually, they become smaller and smaller, and then condominiums and flats are the homes of the future, right? Because you want to maximize on the cost of the land. And then the duration of loans also extended. So as time goes by, once the houses become small, they become too small for you to make it smaller, right? So the banking sector comes and gives you a longer period, a longer time for you to settle your loan. So during my father's time in 1970s, during my father's time, they take a housing loan only for 7 to 10 years. I took it for 15 years, then became 20, then 25, 30. So in 2005, there was a Berita Harian news says 2 generasi. 2 generasi, bayar rumah. That means someone buys, the father dies, then the son must continue. Then at one point in time, you will finally own the house. So this is very common in countries like Japan and so on, 2-generation loans. Yeah. So this is the issue of, you can see it's because of the structure of the financial system itself. Now for Malaysia, specifically for Malaysia, now this is history. The historical development of financial sector, the monetary and financial sector, also has an issue behind it. Why? If you, okay. All right, Can you see it? Can you all see it? Okay, you see, if you see the history, where is the, I can't even see my, okay, anyway, you can see you see the most important is the one I put in red dot, 1860. You see, 1860 is the time when, after the, the state settlement was established, when the Penang, Malacca, and Singapore was declared a state settlement. Then the first time the banking sector was introduced. So when the banking sector was introduced, they introduced the first time the paper money. Before that, it was all gold, silver, and tin were used as money. So that time, you see, the trade was very fair. So the moment you print a piece of paper and then you say it is money, it immediately gives an advantage to the one who is printing the money and to whom it is given. All right? So once the paper money was created, it actually, in a way, particularly those who are not getting the newly created money, they were disadvantaged in the system. They were disadvantaged. So if I may show you, this is a picture of one of the currencies of the time. Yeah, this is 100 years ago. This is by Board of Commissioners of Currency Malaya. If you can, it's not clear, but it says $10,000. In Jawi, it is written as 10,000 ringgit. Yeah, so it's about 19. This currency note is about 1919. So you notice when you introduce a piece of paper like that, 10,000 ringgit. At that time, you know how much was a lunch, a meal? It was only 1 cent. A lunch today, it costs about 5 ringgit to 10 ringgit, isn't it? That one was, at that time, was only about 1 cent. Even the coins used to say half cent, quarter cent, like that. So you see, this note is like 1 million ringgit today. So if I get a piece of paper like that, printed, and I say this is money, I can go and give to you and I can buy hectares of your land. I can buy hectare buildings. if I just get one piece of paper, I can buy this, start a good business, send my children to Harvard, and but I see. So that is the, so what has happened is that once it was introduced, unfortunately, particularly among those who are disadvantaged in this system was actually the indigenous people. The reason is, if you notice historically, when the Malays and this thing, they started to indulge in the banking, borrow, it's in around 1970s when the post office savings account was converted into Bank Simpanan National. So before 1970s, if you are a public servant like me, if you go to, you are paid in cash check. You will go to your post office, you queue up, and then you collect money. Why you are paid in cash check? Because you don't have a bank account. So in finance, if you are done like that, for 100 years, you are financially, relatively financially excluded. For 100 years, you are put behind by the system already. So you are already 100 years behind. Then the money is growing exponentially. So in the housing issue, the indigenous people are bound to face more problem. Is it difficult to visualize? You see, huh? So because you are put 100 years behind, so the problem that's now rising in the housing, who will be facing more problem is the indigenous people, yeah? Because you are, okay. So were there any, the Malay or Bumi Putra, someone who realized that this is happening, we need to have also a bank for ourselves? Yes, I didn't know until later I found out there was. The person's name is Maruf Zakaria. This came out in Berita Harian. So Maruf Zakaria is the father of the actor Allahyarham siapa? Mustafa Maruf, yeah? So if you go to KL, Bangsa, you see Jalan Maruf. Jalan Maruf is named after him. So he, in 1946, he established a first bank. He said, look, the English, they have the Standard Chartered, they have the Hong Kong Bank, the Chinese community, they have the OCBC, the Overseas Chinese Banking. Malays, they are all going to the Chetty Haram and paying high, So he started the first Malay National Bank. But unfortunately, within a year, he was murdered, and that's the end of the bank. All right? So, so that's the reason. So what I'm saying is that the historical development also has something to do with this, because you were put 100 years behind. So when 1983, when Bank Islam was established, then some Islamic concepts were introduced. So one of the most popular is Bai Bitaman Ajil, the BBA contract. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that the BBA contract, when you apply them under the concept of fiat money, the way it is today, it is actually more detrimental. It is detrimental to why is it detrimental? Look, I was the dean of the Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance. People say, how come you are criticizing Islamic banking like this? No, look, this is what I understand. I have to say that. I believe there's a true Islamic finance. What is missing in Islamic finance today is actually the money. Islamic contracts are all valid only under real money concepts. All the Islamic contracts, they were revealed under gold and silver as money. All right? So, so if you notice, I don't know whether you can see the numbers. Is it clear for you? It's not, Is there any way of making it clear? Okay, actually, I was trying to compare here. If you take BBA, if you take a BBA financing, and then you take a conventional financing for the same amount, let's say 200,000 ringgit. It's a house for 200,000 ringgit. So you take a BBA financing for 20 years, 20-year financing, and then I put the interest rate as 10%. For the Islamic financing, the profit rate is 10%. So when the rates are same, the monthly payment is also same. It's 1,737. All right? So the bank, under the Islamic concept, it will buy the property for 200,000 from the developer, and then it will resell it to you at the total amount. Excuse me, yeah? So the total amount for 20 years is 416,889, something like that. So the bank will sell the property back to you at 416,000. Why are you willing to buy the house at 416,000 when the price is only 200? because you are given 20 years to pay back because of the deferred payment. Yeah, the problem lies when you default or you want to pay early settlement. So let's say the balance after 2 years. Let's say you lost your job after 2 years, after buying the house. Under the conventional financing, you only owe the bank 173,000. But under the Islamic finance, BBA, you owe the bank 375,000. Can you see the difference? Under the Islamic finance, you owe 200,000 more because the Islamic finance is a sale contract. You see? So many people are stuck in the previous contracts. Today, the banks give you the rebate. That was after all, the number of conferences we had, then they came up with what do you call that? Discretionary rebate by the banks. Now they have to follow a certain formula. So that's fine. It's almost become similar already now. The problems has been solved. So, but anyway, if you go to Persatuan Pengguna Islam and Consumers Association of Penang and others, there are many who are still stuck in this problem. Those who took, especially houses that were under construction and became abandoned. I'll give you one simple example. There was one person, it's also, I know him in Penang, but I have about 480 cases. So one person, the house was 250,000. The bank was supposed to purchase it for 250 and sell it back for 750. The profit is 500,000 ringgit. Why? Because for 30 years. The bank released 10,000 ringgit when the foundations were ready to the developer. Then the project became abandoned. So the person went to the bank. He said, let me pay you the 10,000 plus the profit on it. Islamic finance, No, the bank said, no, you owe us 510,000. He said, oh, look, I didn't even get a house, nothing. How can you say this is Islamic and justice, For 10,000 you release, now I have to pay you 510. So you see, so this kind of problems, there are so many stuck in it, right? So you see, these kind of problems can happen in the present structure. So I don't have much time. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go straight to the Musharakah Mutanaqisah as a solution, okay? So what we are trying to propose is Musharakah Mutanaqisah as a solution to all this. It's also an Islamically acceptable contract. The Musharakah Mutanaqisah, it is a diminishing partnership. So if you do not know how to pronounce it, you can remember it as Musharakah Mutanaqisah. Right? All right. So how does the Musharakah Mutanaqisah, how does it work? You see, it works something like this. See, unfortunately, the numbers are not clear. I thought it will be very clear. Maybe if you look at this thing, the screen there. How it works is that, let's say the customer puts 10%, 200,000 ringgit. The customer put 10%, which is 20,000 ringgit. Then the bank puts 180,000. So 20,000 and 180,000, together they co-own the house. So that means it's partnership. It's not a loan, it is not a sale contract. It's a partnership contract. So both the bank and the customer together own the property. So starting with the customer owning 10%, then the bank owning 90%. All right? Then the customer will stay in the house and pay rental, pay rent. Right? So let's say the rental is 1,000 ringgit per month. So when the customer pays 1,000 ringgit to the bank, but the customer has a 10% stake in the house, isn't it? But he pays the entire 1,000 to the bank. So 100 ringgit out of the 1,000 belongs to the customer, right? So that 100 ringgit will go to increase the customer's equity, and then it will decrease the bank's equity by the 100. You get it? So after the first payment of the rental, the customer's equity becomes 20,100. Banks becomes 179,900, reduces. So that makes the ownership ratio change. Then the next payment, the customer's ownership, the division of the rental increases. So it keeps on increase until at the end you own 100% of the house and the bank does not own the house anymore. So we have a formula for that, all right? if you notice in this example, if the person were to go on like this, it will take about 38 years to own the house. That's a long time. So if you as a customer, if you want to own the house, just say it's just in 20 years, so over and above the rental, you need to pay an additional amount monthly. So you just put an additional amount monthly, and then you redeem the bank's equity faster. All right? So I have, if you see in the formula here, it tells you that if you add 200, how much? If you add another 289, 289.58 cents, you can own the house in 20 years. You see? So it's a partnership contract. So what is the advantage of this contract compared to the BBA? The advantage is the balance of the financing can never be more than the original amount taken. Under the BBA, the balance can be more than the original amount taken. Under the partnership contract, it will never be more. Right? Then one interesting fact about Musharakah Mutanaqisah is that its formula, its mathematical formula becomes similar to the conventional loan formula. It is just by coincidence. Coincidence is same, which means we can use your financial calculator to do this Musharakah Mutanaqisah and so on. Yeah. So and then the other good thing about Musharakah Mutanaqisah is that in its formula, it uses the actual rental, not the interest. Actual rental. So when once you put the actual rental, then you see the return is given by the usufruct of the asset. Usufruct of the asset gives the return. Unlike the interest exogenously put into the system. What I mean is, if you take let's say intermediate lot and a corner lot, if you're buying an intermediate a corner lot, the interest rate will be still the same. But if you finance using Musharakah Mutanaqisah, the corner lot will have a higher rental compared to the intermediate. So it will be differentiated that way. And then the other good thing about Musharakah Mutanaqisah is that if you see in most statistics, country statistics, the rental rates are generally lower than the interest rate, except high-end properties near Kuala Lumpur and so on, where you'll find good rentals, right? Generally, the rental rate is lower. So therefore, if you use a Musharakah Mutanaqisah method, it is generally, you can own the home faster. You can own the home faster. Okay, so because we do not have much time, I'm actually rushing. Now I'm going to compare who is more eligible or better to do this Musharakah Mutanaqisah. Is it a bank? My answer is it is not suitable for bank to do it. You know why? Because if the banks were to do it, what will happen is that when you have a conventional and Islamic financing coexist, whenever there's a difference, the banking sector will allow the arbitrage between the two. You can make profit from the difference. So ultimately, both of them will come and converge. They'll become equal. So that's the reason when the Musharakah Mutanaqisah was introduced by the banking, you will notice that they do two things. One is instead of the interest rate, instead of the rental rate, they will put interest rate inside the formula. So the interest rate still becomes the benchmark. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is the ownership structure. Because you co-own the house, if you default, then technically in a partnership, you have to sell the house in the market, and then the cash flow, you pay off any of the outstanding amounts, liquidation, any whatever cost, and then the proceeds must be divided according to the ownership ratio of the time. The banks normally they don't want to go through this. What they will ask you to do is that they will ask you to make a promise. In case of default or anything, we will not go to the market value, but then we will just look at what is the book value of the balance. You see? So if you do these two changes, that you replace the rental with the interest, and then you make a promise, which in Arabic we call wa'ad. When you make the wa'ad, that you will only go and look at the book balance in case of default and so on, then the Musharakah Mutanaqisah and the conventional finance become exactly the same. Because the formula already dah nampak sama dah. So you change these two factors, then they become exactly the same, right? So for that reason, I would suggest the best way to implement the Musharakah Mutanaqisah is in a cooperative model. A cooperative model, a housing cooperative. Yeah. So how does it work in a housing cooperative? If you can see, in a housing cooperative, it is something like this. Where is it? The computer here, is it? I don't know where the. Already, thank you already. Where is it? I can't. Okay, this one. Huh? Okay, you see, how does a cooperative works? Now, let's say we all form a housing cooperative, and then you save money with me. Let's say I'm managing the cooperative, right? You save money. Once you save about 10% of the price of the house, let's say you have saved 20,000 ringgit, then you can tell the cooperative that I would like to purchase a home or finance a home. Then the cooperative will either build a house or buy an existing house, and then they will rent it to you. So you occupy the house and then you pay rental, all right? So the return to the cooperative is the rental. The rental is the return. So those who are investing but they are not purchasing any home yet, they will get return in the form of rental, yeah, rental. So it is a cooperative that gives a rental income to whoever is investing, and then it builds a home, and then you know, allows a person to afford a home in a faster period. Normally, if you look at the statistics that is happening in Canada there's a very successful model. It's called Ansar Housing Cooperative. It has been there from 1980s. Ansar Housing Cooperative has been very successful in providing home financing and vehicle financing using the Musharakah Mutanaqisah method. And people own the house most of them within 7 to 10 years also. So if you add to this, type of financing, you add new methods of constructing home, like prefabricated homes, or even now people have, you know, container homes and so on. You can build a good home cheap, and at the same time, if you finance using this method, people can own homes faster. Yeah, 7 to 10 years. Now you see, it's already 30 years. If you would like to, you know, take a look at it, the successful model, you can see Ansar Cooperative Housing Corporation Canada. You can Google, you can see how they're doing it. Yeah. So, but here, as the Z consultancy here, if anyone's interested, the state is interested, we can also give consultancy until the model, the implementation, the softwares and everything. Yeah. So thank you very much for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's okay. Professor says sorry for going fast. I said no problem. I like already. If I was in Perak right now, I would want to do this yesterday. Questions from the floor. I'm sure each and every one of us, no matter whether we have had houses or not, this is a crucial issue, because if you already have a house, but you have more than one child, then you still have to find another house and help your children have houses. And that is one of the most pressing needs in any survey done for Gen Y, apart from wanting to get more salary with less work. One of their main concerns is owning a house. So with that, I open the floor. You have only a few minutes before the next session. So can I know which mic do they go to?
My name is Muhammad. I'm actually from Egypt, but I work in Perak. I have a little bit of a strange question. When we buy house, I found that I'm from the school that I need to buy a landed house, because my thought is that if I buy an apartment, I'm just buying concrete. If something happens, later on the land will belong to the landlord. I found out that the majority are buying apartments, while I'm the only person who's thinking that buying house is the right way. I have done my investment in Japan, and I found that 99% of the colleagues are buying apartments. I'm the only person who believes in that. But everybody is buying the apartments. Am I wrong or they are wrong? I need your good judgment on this. Plus, I notice another thing. Let's say, for example, in Penang or Ipoh, there are apartments in point A, which is, let's say, 30 minutes to the city center, and there are houses in point B, which is also 30 minutes, but people don't want to live in the outskirts in a landed house, which is sometimes cheaper than the condo, despite that the transportation time is the same, 30 minutes and 30 minutes.
Okay.
I feel that this is strange, but from the expert point of view, what do you think?
Okay.
Thank you.
But anyway, it is, I think it's preference, yeah. Like in Malaysia, it is, you know, when you have a flat, of course you own the flat, but the land belongs to the entire, you know, the entire flat dwellers, you know. So in that way, you're not, you know, it's just a matter of choice. Many people today, they like condominium time. If I grow older, I also like a condominium. You know why? You see, you maintain very easy. Security also better. Nowadays, you come down, you know, the condominium, the shops are right there. They even have, you know, service for old people. They take you to the, you know, to the town to buy things and so on. So it all, you know, they come in a package. You know, so it's just a choice of, I think you like landed property just like me. I also don't like, you know, I like my feet to be on the ground, you see. So you and me are similar, but I think it is a matter of choice, yeah. Is there any other question?
I have this burning question. If you buy a house, for the first 5 years, none of our money we paid to the bank will go to our repayment. It goes directly to the profit to the bank, which means the profit or the interest. I wonder whether this is a Islamically correct principle, whereby the bank would take their profit upfront rather than sharing the risk. Yes, thank you.
Please take the profit first and then the principal later. But now I think we follow the same formula on an annual basis. So the balance becomes similar to the conventional balance, almost similar. But now, so Islamic finance has evolved already, and almost converged. So I've been telling in finance, ultimately when you apply Islamic finance in the present system, when you have dual system, ultimately they will be adjusting to each other and they'll become equal to eliminate the differences. So in Malaysia, in my opinion, that's already happened. So if you want Islamic finance to have a truly distinctive characteristics on its own, the missing link, I always say the missing links, of course I'm not presenting this, the missing link is the concept of money. It's money. You see, this conference is on sustainability, isn't it? If you go and look at the experts in monetary, when you go and look further inside, when you think deeply inside, you'll come to a conclusion the missing link for sustainability is actually the concept of money. There are many books. You go and you can Google the thing, sustainability and money. So that is a missing link. So when we have a riba-based or interest-based system, you will find that you will never be able to attain sustainability. You look at Europe, you look at America, you look at Japan, all very advanced countries as far as science and technology is concerned. Why everyone is collapsing? Why the whole economy is collapsing? Because the missing link is it is the financial sector and the monetary sector that is bringing all down. You see? So that's what gives me confidence. The answer lies in the true Islamic finance. So the true Islamic finance uses gold and silver as the measure of value. So you may think, what are you talking about? Are you going to take this back 1,400 backwards? No. You are just going to value things in gold and silver. We will be using all modern technology. You'll be using our mobile payment systems, electronic payment systems. But what measures value is gold and silver. If you would like to have later, we can have a discussion why it can do wonders if you do that. That's the reason why, if you see in history of mankind used gold as the measure of value until 1971. You may think it is no, it was taken away only in 1971, only 40 years ago. All right? So that is the missing link in Islamic finance also. It's money, yeah?
One last question.
I think I've been reading a bit on Islamic finance and also, engaged in a few discourse on the money banking. The thing is, I think of late people are talking about, how the fiat money is depleting in value compared to the gold. This is where we are heading in. Right now, we are like 2% from 1940, the first Bretton Woods.
Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is, does the current banking system is sustainable because of the fractional reserve that they've been practicing? That's what I heard, that the banks could take like 1 ringgit and multiply it to 1,000 times more and issue out the money from your account.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you give me a time, I can link it to many, many things, the whole thing. It is the reason, that is the cause of inflation and bubbles. It is also the cause of when bubbles burst, it brings the economy towards recession. It is also the cause for the disparity in wealth and income distribution. It is also the cause of environmental destruction. The reason is the interest that you got to pay to the financial system does not exist in the form of real money. For example, if I lent 1 million and then I say 10% is the interest, the 10% is interest does not exist in the form of money in the economy. So you have to pay back in real terms. So when nations that have resources like forests and so on, when they borrow internationally, then they have to pay the interest portion in real things. So there's a lot of studies have been shown, higher interest, more deforestation. Forests are wiped out, the higher the interest rate. You see? So there's links like that. So interest rate also got linked to environmental destruction. So there are many, many things that you can show how it is actually. So today we are coming globally. So if you see countries like Europe, you see countries like US and others, very clearly you can see it is unsustainable unless they address the monetary issue. Look at Greece. Why should you see the old man, after years of saving and working, he has deposited his money. Now the bank closes the door. He can't even go and they're just sitting on the floor of this thing and crying. So what kind of a system is that, right? So you can see that the fallacy of the system, it does not allow people to work. Just take Greece, for example. There are people who are willing to work, and there are also people who need goods and services. So why can't people who work and people who need goods and services be matched through money? What is missing there? What is missing is money and liquidity, that's all. It's liquidity, you see? So it's unsustainable, the present system. You can see in Malaysia also what is happening. Look at our ringgit, how it is going. Isn't it? So this kind of thing is ultimately it will be devastating to the people. But if you use real money, if you use gold, there's a 1,000-year evidence, thousands of years of evidence. The money is, once you value things using gold, is a constant. It's a constant. You see, I have a dinar in my money. Dinar is 4.25 grams of gold. During the time 4,400 years ago, during the time of the Prophet, that coin can buy you a goat or sheep. Today also, if you have the coin, it can buy you a goat or sheep, which is true. You see? So there's one professor, Roy Jastram, from University of California, Berkeley. He did with data for about 500 years. So he took the price of commodities and then he priced using gold. And then he found it is a constant. Then he wrote his famous book called The Golden Constant. You can Google it and download it, All right, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Ahamed Kameel. Can we get a big round of applause? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.